G'day there folks, Connor in a dark room here again, coming at you with some more stories from Reddit. As usual, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit like and subscribe and all that stuff, and let's get straight to the stories. Alrighty, we're on Am I the A-hole? This one was written by user Major Perception, and it's titled, Would I be the a-hole if I ask my employee if she's pregnant? I own a small cafe and only have one employee. She was recommended by a frequent customer, her husband, when I posted the listing. I interviewed multiple people, and she was not only the nicest one, but genuinely the best candidate. She'd been a stay-at-home mum for 11 years for 3 kids, and said that she felt it was more important for her to be there with them than working, and I can't and don't fault her for that at all. She shows up, she works, she does everything and more that I need her to do. I have zero complaints about her as an employee. However, over the last 4 months, I've noticed some changes. Number 1, she is tiny, and when I say tiny, I mean that. This girl probably weighs 100 pounds soaking wet, and she's never worn tight-fitting shirts, but her shirts are starting to fit tighter, only in the stomach area, and it doesn't take staring to notice. Number 2, she used to only take her food to go at the end of the day. Now she'll ask me to cook it earlier. Not an issue, she can ask whenever she wants, but she eats at least half of it immediately. She's never done that before, even if she got it before she left. Number 3, her husband has come in a few times and also her father and asked her things along the lines of how she's feeling, and I've overheard her talking about a doctor's appointment multiple times. Now, we live in a right-to-fire state, so after talking to my wife, I get why she might be worried to tell me in the case I might do so. But I don't want to, and I won't. But I'll admit I'd be a liar if I said I wasn't a bit worried she'll have the baby and not come back to work when she's the only one there to help me out. So, would I be an a-hole or way out of line for asking her if she's having a baby? Well, yeah, that's tricky because you don't really want to ask, but yeah, I can understand as an employer you'd want to know. But saying that, there could be a myriad of different reasons why she might be gaining a little weight. It's not necessarily that she's pregnant per se. Let's go to the comments. What part of never ask a woman if she's pregnant didn't click for you? Opie says, well, I understand that, but if she is and is eventually going to need time off after the baby is born, that's something I need to know ahead of time, rather than after the fact when she's the only other one there besides me. I do need to make arrangements for her absence for however long she needs. You would be the a-hole. She'll explain what's going on when she needs to. If she's still doing everything in her job, it isn't your business as her employer. There's a lot that could go wrong if you ask her, and not much that can go wrong if you just wait until it becomes unavoidably obvious. She may be pregnant but prone to miscarriage, which depending on where you live, ranges from a horrendously awful health experience to all of that plus legal troubles. OP says, I didn't think of this aspect of it, because if you see her and know how she looks, it's already obvious. I have no idea if she's prone to miscarriages or not. I just know she's got 3 kids she talks about all the time. But we do live in one of those states. Thanks for that perspective I hadn't thought of. Lol, what is this right to fire someone for being pregnant state? Assuming this is in the US by the use of the word state, have you not heard of the Federal Pregnancy Discrimination Act? Yes, there are certain requirements and it can't cause undue hardship, etc. But generally speaking, in the US, you can't fire women for being pregnant or having pregnancy-related disability. So yes, you would be the a-hole and possibly violating federal law in the US if you live or work there. They reply, it means I can just tell her not to show back up and not give her a reason or make one up. If I tell her I'm firing her because she's pregnant, she can sue. If I just tell her she's fired, period, she can't, because I didn't give her a reason. I have no desire to do that though. It's not right to fire for being pregnant. It's right to fire for anything, anytime. Another comment says, I hope she or someone she knows has read it as well, because you gave all the proof needed that it was because you worried she wouldn't return anyway. And guess what? You can delete the post, but if people have links, they can return to them, and it saves the original copy in the comments. You better pray you either wise up and wait, or if you end up doing the morally wrong thing, that she nor anyone close to her doesn't follow the Am I the A-hole subreddit. Or if they do, that they can never figure out it's about the cafe she works at. You better not fire her simply because you don't know if she'll return. Because if you do, I'm hoping and praying someone she knows has read it follows this subreddit, and they get proof you fired because of her being pregnant. Here's an idea, hire other people as well, but again, don't fire her. Opie says, I said I didn't want to and wouldn't fire her. because I don't want to. If she is, I want her back when she's had the baby, because she goes above and beyond 24/7 when she's there. Me stating the laws of our state are just what they are, and my wife saying that might be why she's worried, and me being worried she might change her mind about working when I've come to rely on her, and it's only the two of us there every day. Her job is not in jeopardy either way. You would not be the a-hole. Are you going to fire her if she's pregnant? Ask her gently and then congratulate her. Reddit is ridiculous sometimes. Look at all the other comments. You gauge whether you're close enough to her and whether she trusts you enough. At a certain point, it's going to feel like you're pretending not to see the obvious. Opie says, absolutely not. Her job is safe 100%. But I know after she has the baby, she'll obviously need some time off. And since she's the only employee besides me, I'll need to plan ahead for that, 6 to whatever amount of weeks off. And like I said, I'm wondering if she'll decide to stay home again with this one, and that's fine, I don't hold it against her. The way she talks about her 3 she already has, and the time she was there with them all the time, I can see how proud and happy she was to be able to do that. So I wouldn't be surprised or upset or whatever else if she decided to do the same with this potential new one. I'd just like to know in advance what I'm looking at going forward if I need to hire someone new by X date. You're the a-hole. Right to fire equals right to quit. Did she sign a contract? Are you offering her benefits, health insurance, retirement? You fully admit that you could fire her for being pregnant if you wanted to, but somehow you're the victim because she might quit, and you'd have to, gasp, find another employee. It's a job at a cafe. It's none of your business if she's pregnant, and she doesn't owe you anything. Opie responds, I do not mean to imply I'm a victim at all. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm concerned that not only she could be worried about it when it won't happen, but also that if she decides not to come back. My wife is the one who pointed out that she could be worried for that reason, and we are a small business. It's only the employee and I every day, so with it being only us, there are no benefits. However, any time she needs to be off, she gets off, and I can usually find a family member who can help out for the day. But that's harder to do when it's all the time, which is my only worry. I will not fire her. She can work until she has the baby, if she's having one, and if she decides to stay home with that one as well, then that's fine and up to her and her husband. But if I need to hire new help by a certain point, I would also like to know that too. Because at this point, even the people that were helping out before can't help out like she does. So I'd like to have the time to train someone. It's just the two of us, so that would be helpful. Yes, you're the a-hole for sure. 1, she has every right to privacy and you have no right to ask. If she's choosing not to share, assuming there's anything to share in the first place, there may be a good reason for it, medical or otherwise, or maybe she just doesn't feel it's a necessary conversation to have with her employer because she's not required to do so. And 2, I'm not going to assume anything about state employment laws where you are, but even if you follow them and can legally terminate her because you think she might be pregnant, you're the a-hole. Also, you run a cafe, not a surgical team. Hire someone part-time so you feel more comfortable. Sheesh. Opie says, I do not intend to fire her at all. I just need to make arrangements for whatever amount of time she needs off, if she'd like to come back. We haven't been open even a year, and our space is limited. 3+ employees will be trampling on each other in our cooking area. You need to seriously consider taking applications and hiring a second person. Your business plan, having only one person who can be there when you can't, is seriously flawed. You need to be able to have another person to rely on. It doesn't matter whether this woman gets sick, takes maternity leave, or becomes unable to work temporarily due to an accident. You're seriously risking your business by not having at least one more employee. They say, if I can't be there, we are closed. We haven't even been open for a year. And with the cooking space we have available, any more than 2 will be in everybody's way, 24/7. I appreciate the advice, I really do, but right now we're doing good. If my employee can't be there, a family member will come in to help. All classes needed have been taken, and they get paid for doing so. A fair amount of differing opinions in the comments there. But it's pretty clear to me that Opie's intentions are good, and he just wants to do what's best for him and his company. And the sheer fact he's making this post means he cares somewhat about her comfortability. Let's go to an update, 1.5 months later. She is pregnant. I did not ask her. Her husband told me and said he's been telling her she needed to tell me, but he said she wasn't sure about how much time to ask off for, if I'd think she wasn't coming back, or if I'd need help and nobody else could help, because the job has become important to her, so she kept putting it off. He said her plan was to come back after 2 weeks, but he, and these are his words before everyone comes for my head again, said that he wasn't going to let her at that point, which I fully understand. From there, I decided I should save all the tips that would be hers and give them to her, so that's what I'm going to do, just so she's not completely out of pay, and she's honestly earned it. She truly is a great employee, and I'm happy for her and her husband and their family. One commenter says, "You acted like the boss she desperately needed, and that's worth more than any policy or contract. Stay the course and support her openly, because loyalty is born when people feel seen and valued, and she will repay that tenfold when she returns." Opie says, "I honestly couldn't ask for a better employee than her. I'm glad she plans to come back when she's had the time she feels, or I guess her husband, according to what he said, feels she needs to come back to work." Do you have a lot of regular customers who know her and will miss her? Maybe you could ask if she minds, once the baby is born, if you let people know why she's off work for a while, and perhaps you have a dedicated tip jar for employees' new baby fund so her regular customers can contribute if they like, or offer to share her registry link with regulars. Oh, they will definitely miss her. I won't be recognizing their voices on the phone immediately, or their phone numbers on the caller ID, or just knowing what they want to drink and having it ready without them specifying it, or any extra sauces they want without them telling me. This is a good idea, thank you. Only in the dystopian world that we live in, and I'm assuming this is the USA, would a woman feel like she has to go back to work after 2 weeks. Dude, let me prepare you. She's not going to be able to come back for at least 6 to 8 weeks. At that, she should be taking at least 6 months off. Now, I appreciate that you probably only pay her minimum wage, so she cannot afford to do this, but damn, this is just crappy. And Opie replies, "She makes $20 an hour and works 15 hours a week. I do pay her, I feel like well, for her time that she takes out of her life to help me out. I also know that her husband makes enough and that she doesn't need to work for me. She chooses to have something to do. I have no issues with how long she needs to be off. She's the one who said 2 weeks because she told her husband that the job was important to her and she didn't want to be gone too long. I never told her or her husband that she needed to be back immediately, and I know that since she was a stay-at-home mum with all her other children, she probably didn't realize or fully think that part through yet. And that's fine. I will figure her time off out as I need to so she can be home with her children and rest and recover." And now for a final update, 4.5 months later. Final update. My employer was made aware that her job was here when and if she was ready to come back. But definitely don't be a stranger while you're on maternity leave. Please bring that baby in here eventually. She laughed and agreed. Baby arrived very early yesterday morning. Her husband called me to tell me what was happening once their sweet girl was here. I waited until today for the visitors to die down to ask if I could bring them something to eat, and I made her, the employee's, favourite food item from work. This was her request. I would have taken her something else had she asked for it, and her husband his. She didn't say anything about him, but I did it anyway, assuming she was in the fog of she needed food and forgot he existed in the moment. My wife and I arrived this afternoon and got to meet the newest member of their family. Mum and baby are both safe and healthy, and that is the cutest and smallest baby I've ever seen in my life. Her older siblings are obsessed with her, and needless to say, her parents are as well. She's very, very loved. Just wanted to give the happy update to this. Baby girl is here and is healthy, loved, and mum and employee knows she has nothing to fear in regards to her job. What a lovely ending. Just makes those comments in the first post all the more frustrating. These comments agree. OP, I'm worried that she's afraid I'm going to fire her, which I have no intention to do, and want to have a conversation with her to find out if she plans on returning to work, which I really hope she does. Commenters, act like Opie confessed his plan to beat her to death. Man, the lack of reading comprehension in the replies made this such a hard read. Opie was a saint for repeating, "No, like I said in the post," in its various forms so many times. I would have popped off. You would be the a-hole if you fire her. Well, you see, that wasn't the question. Yeah, spot on. Seems like those commenters never really read the post, did they? Anyway guys, that's it for that story. As always, give me your thoughts down below, and we'll move on to the next. Alright, this next one was posted on Wedding Drama. It was written by user Classy Polar Bear, and it's titled, "I don't want my fiance's best friend's wife to come to my wedding." I don't really know what to do, and there's so much backstory here, but I'm really stressing about this girl that's invited to my wedding. I'm not really sure where to start because there's a lot that led up to this moment. Ultimately, my fiancé has had Matt as his best friend for 20 years. Matt is a cool and solid guy, but not trustworthy. Matt just got married to Kat a couple weeks ago, but they had been engaged since 2022. They were never in a rush to get married, and anytime anyone asked, that's exactly what they said. After my fiancé and I got engaged, winter 2025, and we knew we wanted a short engagement, Matt and Kat immediately started planning their wedding after they found out. Anytime I tried to talk to Kat about her wedding or otherwise, she either gave me an attitude or flat out ignored me. Unless she's had a few drinks where she asks about the tea, she ignores my existence completely. When I attended her bridal shower and wedding, she wouldn't even look in my direction, and when I went up to congratulate her, she sounded less than enthused about it. I recently found out that Kat has been saying terrible things about me when I'm not around, and essentially tries to turn one of my closest friends against me. It seems to be working. According to the people I heard from that Kat was talking bad, they think she might be upset that I'm stealing her man's best friend from him. But what? I don't think that makes sense. I don't want her starting any drama at my wedding. I don't want to be stressed that she and my other close friends are spending time together at my wedding, but this is technically my fiancé's call, right? Since it's his best friend's wife. It's as much his day as it is mine, but I don't want this girl bringing her shadow and putting a damper on the whole thing. What could be the solution here? Yeah, that's tricky. I mean, definitely got to tell your fiancé about it, but I also feel like not inviting her might just cause more issues than grinning and bearing it for the day. Let's go to the comments. I think you're going to have a lot more drama if you don't invite her, to be honest. Just don't sit her with your friends. Opie says, yeah, you're right about the drama. We're having a small ceremony though, 40 people, and there's no seating assignment at the restaurant we booked. It's a buffet and kind of just a lounge type of vibe. Tough. It's not just your wedding, it's also your fiancé's wedding, as you said, and I'm sure he'd prefer it if his best friend had his wife there. Seat her elsewhere and just suck it up for the day. She says actually he doesn't like her either. Opie, is this a pattern for you? And by this I mean feeling like you have to manage everyone else's emotions to avoid conflict. The reason I ask is that your other posts suggest maybe you find it deeply uncomfortable to put yourself forward or let other people manage their own reactions. If I'm wrong, then I'll shut my mouth. If I'm not and this is a pattern, I feel for you. It's a hard pattern to break, but with work it is possible. Finally, let people talk about you if you want. It only affects your life if you let it. Be unbothered and focus on yourself. Opie replies, thank you for this. I've actually done a lot of work to get where I am, but it's still a work in progress. I've always had issues with feeling like I'm a burden to others and just putting myself last because it's easier to regulate my emotions than deal with other people's emotions. That being said, I figured that a wedding day was important enough to put myself first, but I'm not the only one in the picture here. It's my fiancé also. Also, I don't care in the slightest if people talk about me. I just don't want that vibe at my wedding. I don't think you can exclude her without drama. Be the bigger person. People know who the a-hole is. She says, yeah, you're right. Really looking for boundaries I can set, or maybe have people that can run interference during the day. I don't know, maybe I'm making this a bigger deal than it is. There are no drama-free options. Pick the one that you can live with. What kind of close friends believe the other person without cause? OP, probably the people-pleaser kind that doesn't like conflict and always wants to keep the peace so they don't stick up for their friends. You said that Kat was starting to turn people against you. There's a difference between being too wimpy to speak up and switching sides. And she replies, maybe I'm viewing it the wrong way. I understand everyone has their stuff going on, but I've been reaching out to my friend to get together with her since the spring. Without fail, she'll cancel or change plans which never end up happening, but always makes time for Kat. I've gone out of my way for this friend many times. Maybe I'm missing something and I should definitely have a conversation with her directly as soon as I can, but something seems fishy. Maybe Kat didn't turn this friend against me per se, but something is different than it used to be before Kat showed up. But thank you for helping me realize that I need to talk to my friend before jumping to conclusions. OP should talk with her fiancé to let him know what's going on and what he thinks about this. I actually just talked to him about everything going on and he said that everyone that is invited is invited. Asking anyone not to come would cause more drama, which is the opposite of what we want, and that after our day we don't have to associate with them anymore. Honestly, he and his best friend haven't even been talking lately, so I'm not really sure where he stands there. I mean, he still wants him at his wedding, but he doesn't like or respect his best friend's wife, so at this point, they have also grown distant recently. Alrighty, onto an update, 2 weeks later. Okay, so fiancé and I talked. He had been growing kinda distant from this friend anyway, so he basically told me that we won't pay attention to them since it's our wedding, and afterwards we don't really need to associate with them. After this talk, his best friend Matt called him on a Saturday afternoon and invited us to his son's birthday party. When fiancé told me about this, I asked who was going to be there. Is it a small thing or was this planned and we were an afterthought? Matt's wife Kat would have done all the inviting to the party. Well, we show up and we were definitely an afterthought. This party was pretty huge. Grandparents and great-grandparents were there, all their friends and their families, etc. We ended up staying for a little bit, but leaving before most of the others. We kept to the plan we spoke about, even though the whole party thing hurt, especially since my fiancé is supposed to be this kid's godparent. Anyway, wedding day comes, and this group of friends is running late. My fiancé kept walking away from the officiant when they asked if we were ready to start, to buy time for the friends to show up. They were probably 20 minutes late. Whatever, I don't care. I'm as cool as a cucumber and I'm just going with the flow of the day. We get through the ceremony without a hitch after they arrive. After the ceremony, we do posed pics, family, friends, etc. We get to the girls' pic and Kat is like, "Do you want me in this?" I'm agreeable because I'm in a fantastic mood and don't really think anything of it. At the reception though, some of my high school friends tell me Kat is being weird, rude and whatever. My other friend told me at the end of the night that Kat announced her pregnancy when I was in the other room. All in all, there was no direct drama with me, and the day was everything I could have asked for and more. I think at this point we're planning on keeping these friends at arm's length and just living our lives. Thanks to everyone who gave me constructive advice. It was helpful to get some outsider perspective. One final comment says, "In this situation, I think keeping these friends at arm's length should mean not doing anything purposely to engage with them and leave the burden of mending the relationship on them. If they don't, then you know that they're no longer really friends and you can cut your losses. You all sound really young, so you've probably not yet learned that a lot of friendships you make early in your adulthood don't survive as you all grow, mature, and choose different paths in life. Congrats on your wedding, and I hope a very long and fulfilling marriage for you." Yeah, I second that, and I think keeping them at arm's length is a wise thing to do. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Otherwise, that's it from me today. Hope you enjoyed those stories, thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.